Looks like the market finally started showing a little bit of weakness from these earnings reports. Of course, the major leaders. Looks like the top, five components are down on the day. Let's talk about what this could possibly mean. Yet, it looks like the market is even getting a little bit of a rally as we speak. Let's find out about it at the close. Let's hear what Joel Elconin thinks.
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
Three consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
All right, let's bring Joel here. Looks like he's joining me from a new place.
Yeah,
we are at the Tazi Center here at the University of Michigan. This is their trading floor. This is where the students do their research for the Maize and Blue Fund, and we're going to be broadcasting here from tomorrow and talk to some pretty bright students and get their take on the markets, and find out about the Tazi Trading Center and what they're doing here to prepare Michigan students to work on Wall Street. But let's run down the markets where we're at today. S&Ps were down 9 handles at 38.32, pierced that pre-market high, couldn't hold, and made a new low for the session. Still not a bad day considering your big boys are in trouble here. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google all down anywhere from 1.5% to 4%. You have crude got near $90, but backed off. Have crude traded up 91 cents at 88.82.
Did I lose
Gold,
Joel
that's in the red by 420 at 1665. Silver dollar handle down a couple pennies at 1947. And we have Bitcoin that is trading down $15. It's silver, as I mentioned, that's in just a little bit, but so far, not a disaster.
Joel, did I lose you? I think I might have lost Joel, guys. I think his internet might have cut out a little bit there. Just trying to get him back here. He should be back in a second there.
First days, considering.
Joel, you're cutting out a little bit if you can hear me. Not sure if you can hear me or not. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. He's in the quiet place here. Joel, did we get you back? Let me see if I can see his video's gone there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, you're in and out, Joel. You're in and out right now.
Can you hear me, Mitch?
I can hear you. It's just coming in and out right now. I don't know if it's my internet. Looks like I'm battling too. What do you guys think? Am I sounding bad now? I just want to make sure that it isn't me, but it looks like he bounced out. I will get into the market for you guys. We'll get Joel back on. He's in a new place. Let's give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt. That's why he went there today, to test, so that tomorrow we'll be all running smoothly. Let's talk about the market. As you guys can see, looks like we've been battling through the lows, but we're rebounding right off of that, around the 380.25 level. We're going to keep watching, right? Today, we got a lot of earnings stocks coming after the bell. We need to keep watch to see what happens. Big boys coming in tonight: Amazon, Apple, Intel, and there's some other stocks, right, that definitely moved the stock. Look at Gilead there showing up also. Pinterest, right? Will we get some better news from Pinterest than we got from Snapchat? I sure hope so. And then tomorrow, before the open, ExxonMobil, Chevron, definitely big stocks that could definitely move the market. And look at one sneaky there: Next Era Energy and Jinko Solar. I saw some solar stocks strong today. So let's talk about some of the stocks that were strong today. First one area that I'm going to look at is in technology. Technology was actually our down leading sector of the day. So it was on the downside, down about 0.82% overall, almost a percentage. But solar was actually into the green today, and software application names. We'll talk a little bit about those, but look at EMPH, right? Just recently had earnings really taking off. Yesterday, it got into the 300. It got back into the 300 today, back towards 308. FSLR didn't really have the best day, but it's as long as MA stays this strong, I'm going to be looking for a potential breakout here on this FSLR chart. I take a look at the hourly, right? Hourly charts, one of my favorite charts. Take a look at this kind of trend line that you're trying to get through. It can actually start closing up here towards the 133s. It's going to be looking interesting on for solar. There's some other ones that you guys can see getting off the ground there, that SEDG. And of course, Jinko Solar reports tomorrow. Hasn't made a big run lately. Will this give it a little bit of a lift? Of course, this is a Chinese name, so just be careful out there. We'll see what happens towards the bell. Catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? We'll get Joel back here, hopefully. Sydney, we don't stop all day. And sometimes I even tell myself after I'm done on the day, I'm like, all right, Mitch, time to stop hearing even my own voice. But I check out some other traders like Christian Fromhert's recap. And I do just as much work like you guys are like trying to improve on your skill. Just because you guys see me here doing these, you guys, every time I get down from the show, I'm there looking at stocks, checking out what's really moving, trying to bring us value, because that's what we're all here. We're trying to work together like a community, trying to improve on our trading abilities. Really, honestly, if this wasn't a way for me to pay it forward for you guys out there, I wouldn't be here. All right, let's go towards these stocks that we'll be reporting today. Let's stay with the strength first, and then I'll go into more of those earnings reports that are coming as we get closer to the bell. Let's look at these defensive stocks that are having a good day today. What did well here? Well, there's a couple areas that I want to talk about. First one, we're going to packaged foods. Had a really great day. Of course, we saw Kraft Heinz yesterday have a good earnings reports. And look there, it is starting to get a nice little push here. We talked about this value trade with, of course, Dennis Dick this morning. Take a look at you're seeing Heinz Kraft get a nice little lift here. And another area, of course, you got GIS, General Mills. Look at that little push. I was looking to see if we would fill in this gap. We filled in the gap and start making our way back here towards those highs. General Mills with a nice little run there. You got McCormick even getting off the support there. It's trying to make its move back here. SJM, look at JM Smuckers taking off here. Value trade, nice little move there in packaged food. It looks like they're moving back into these kind of defensive names. So you're getting some rotation back into these names. Good looking chart there. Took off through that kind of 144 level. It's a little bit extended away from the 9 EMA. So eventually I'd be looking for a pullback. We'll see if it actually comes back, maybe a 145 on a pullback. But right now, these are getting some good push up. And look at Campbell's Soup. It's not just one stock, right? It's multiple stocks. And I think that's what you need to be looking for to see if you see a trend or not. Well, we're seeing it right there. Packaged foods having a good day. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other areas. I did see in defensives, right? You got also the discount stores that have been doing decent lately. This is a run that isn't being caught by most, which is Walmart. Walmart's starting to push back into the gap zone. Will it get all the way up to 146? Of course, that's going to be dependent on the earnings report. Let me just make sure that I know exactly the date that Walmart will be reporting. Looks like, let me check here, earnings on the 15th of November. So we still a little bit of ways away from there. And this could possibly even close the gap before that earnings report. Keep it on watch. Target starting to get back up into a big gap zone to the left. We'll need a good report from Target to keep it going, but doesn't look bad. Another stock that we've been calling getting back towards the highs, Dollar General, also Dollar Tree, starting to push back, almost making up that full gap here. I drew this for a while back here on the September 19th. And now look how we're starting to really kind of fill it in here. Well, we'll see if we get up there back towards 164. These are not looking too bad. And Costco is one that I'm looking for it to get back above the 500. Nice little pullback today. Let's look for tomorrow to get back above the 50-day moving average, 501.14. We'll see what happens here in the discount stores. Easy Mike Cole and Money Mitch is stocking. Of course, that's a good thing. Put the coal in my stocking. I'll take it. All right, we'll take a look at some other areas that are strong, but you can see the defensives. There's only about 2 or 3 areas that were in the red. That shows us more and more that these value plays are truly out there and actually taking some good leap. Grocery stores even did good today. Kroger getting some lift, right? They did their kind of acquisition for ACI. It's making its way back. We'll see what happened there. Utilities, a little bit of a bounce back here. XLU, you guys are seeing it bounce back. That's a way that you guys can look at it. I look at my index that I have, but I've been really catching industrials. Utilities, to me, this is kind of more of a beaten down name that's kind of getting a little bit of a bounce. Will these make their way all the way back from their recent drop? I don't think so. I mean, look at Duke Energy. Look where it's at. Look where it's falling off. It's falling off the tape. It would need to make its way back towards like 98, 100, and then I'd pay attention to it. Down here, I mean, it is starting to get in a little bit of an uptrend, but it needs to keep pushing. I don't trust those utilities right now, and to each his own if you do. I got you on the expected move for Apple and Amazon. Yeah, I'll look that up in a second. I know Easy looks those up all the time. Maybe he can look it up in the meantime, but I got you, Sebastian. I just have to look it up on a different platform. I don't have it on this one, but you can look it up if you're looking into the options chains. That's where you usually find it. Let's keep going towards the next area that I saw getting up today, which was industrials. A little sneaky one here. And we've talked about it with DE, right? And CAT today, what a day for Caterpillar. If you guys didn't miss that, it ran in the pre-market and continued right out the gates. Went up there towards a high, close to 217. We actually got to 217.13. So good run there in Caterpillar as it's going straight towards that trend line. We updated this on September 13th. As you can see, we were looking for this move back in CAT, and it really did get a nice little push. DE also continuing the nice little push up. That's always going to help us continue going. It looks like I got my man back. My man's back. Let's see if I can hear him now. What's going on, Joel?
So have I ever told you about the old forgetting to plug in your laptop trick?
Yeah,
The charger.
yeah, that one's an old great one. You know, there's one thing that is important, right? We learn and we make better mistakes tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So when I went down, and then all of a sudden it says low battery here, but I'm gonna
Low
bring up.
lithium.
Yeah.
Maybe lithium stocks. Who
Yeah,
knows?
no, the old chart trick. So I'm going to bring up my platform here, but go ahead with your commentary and see,
I'll
Mitch.
keep
I just
going.
want to tell you, you're up on the screen here, up at the.
Let's
up at
do
the-
it. Sound the alarm in Michigan. Let's go. All right. Excited to keep going here. This is one area that we've been looking at it. I call it the leader-laggard style of trade. When you're seeing a stock just really take off in an industry and get through some important levels, look for a stock that's very similar, high correlation to kind of follow it, right? CAT today, what a move off of that earnings report. And the 200-day moving was right underneath it, 198.63. We were coming in fast from that. And look at it. I mean, since Monday, that's a 16% move. Not a bad move there for Caterpillar.
Yeah, and a dragon deer along with it. I assume, right?
Yeah, of course. And this is a common trend. A common trend that I've seen where DE kind of gets going, gets the motor going, and then you see CAT follow. So a really good way to keep watch whenever you're seeing DE going through some major levels. Just take a peek at CAT and see if it's off the support. That can give you good risk to return.
That hasn't Deere hasn't reported yet, has it?
No, just CAT.
Yep. So you might not get the same kind of response, the second time around
Definitely
if the Deere beats. But bringing my charts up, my charts are going to be up here momentarily. But one chart that I wanted you to bring up was Comcast. We talked about that this morning, and just a big old thick stock, right? You think about the volume that trades during a regular session in order for it to move $2 or $3. And if you got the pre-market action in there, you can see that pre-market high got right up to about the 34, I believe it was the 34.36 area,
Mm-hmm.
and it tried to get back up there again. Actually, I looked at the first 45 minutes. That thing bounced like a ping pong ball between 33 and 34. But it's just one of those, a big thick stock like that, in order to maintain. Um, that the high price, the volume just didn't come in. Now it's sold off. I don't think we've got to the top of yesterday's range yet, but just wanted to point out. There you go. Um, just wanted to point out, using those pre-market levels can help you, give you some good exits, or potential exits during the regular session. Let's just talk about Meta here today too. It did get a bounce, but we're going right back down here. We talked about the monthly low that we had at I believe it was at 96.82. What's the current low in that today, Mitch? I know I got an early morning bounce off 97.36. If you can pull that up.
96.38.
Okay, there you go. So once again, using those, going from using the pre-market when you have these big historical moves, going back and using your monthly levels. But I don't know. Did this get any more downgrades today?
And well, of course, the analysts came in chasing those pricing right now, and that's not going to be too hard with the outlook that Meta gave, lowering some price targets. That definitely happened today. I think one of the things also is even my man Jim Cramer was crying on CNBC today. It looked like he had put a call out on Meta, and it just seems like there's been a lot of people trying to go for this, and we've been calling it. It's a value trap right now because it might make sense in the value, in the PE, right? In that outlook. But the story has changed. And there's a big part of that I learned in kind of the 2020 markets was that story can drive a stock for a long time. But once the story changes, you have to be aware because here the story has changed in Meta until either they really get something together in the metaverse and really start making some money there. I just don't see it changing right now. Even
All
though,
right.
some people see Facebook still as an attractive valuation, I just don't see it. Let's go towards the next
Yeah,
area. I do want to go to Shop. Shop was a really good candle today. I mean, look at that one. This one's going to get definitely moving with probably Amazon's report today, but they bought it up there. Not a
Was there
bad
any
move.
other additional news on that? I mean, because we talked about that this morning, and there wasn't the greatest report. But was there anybody sniffing around in this at all? I mean, pretty pretty big move, considering it was an okay report. Let me see. Let me take a
I
look.
think it was the earnings call. I think there was an earnings call in the market, and it looks like they gave some kind of other numbers like Shopify clocking 22% Q3 sales growth, aided by GMV momentum. So they started giving some extra kind of commentary. They started giving it that little bit of a drive. But definitely look at that pre market high. We talk about those all the time. It's a nice little level to see right above it. What? 3150s. Went right through that. Didn't take
Right.
much heat after that. Went through there. And this one did the VWAP bounce that I really like, where a stock gives you a nice little push. And what you're looking for is the pullback to the VWAP and coming into play. Look at the low on this 15-minute candle. VWAP at 32.20, the low at 32.14.
All right, let's for upside here. If we can keep the momentum going here, you got a high at 34.60 for the session. Big volume on this too. This has to be one of Shopify's best days in quite some time. What do we have? Do we have anything up in this area? No, 34.73. Actually, we hit that back in September. So that is close. That is real close to the current high, 34.60. Still trading up near this area, but once again, getting back to that September high, that was probably right near or after that CPI number. So that's the big hurdle for Shopify to clear here. After you clear this point, we haven't been over 34.70. You do have a wide open area to your August 19th high. That comes in at 36.44. But first things first, let's take out that 34.70 area and move on. But considering the day that the market's having, Shopify having one heck of a day. Is this spilling over into any of the other growth stocks, the high cap growth stocks? How's Kathy doing today?
Let's take a look. Of course, Kathy's a good indicator to take a look for some of
Flat.
these growth trades. And yeah, nothing really big. Of course, Shop is in her in ARKK. So that was a good move there. TDOC was interesting there, but it didn't hold the gains. It gave it right back. That one's kind of going sideways, almost holding an hourly trend. If you look at the hourly, you're kind of back into yesterday's range. That doesn't
Are
look
you
too bad.
already, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it came like right back into it, bounced off the 28 there from yesterday's kind of highs.
yeah, it came back in. It filled the gap. I mean, the thing with this one, if you were buying it off the hop, off the open at that much higher open at 30.32, almost a $3.50 open, you did get up to 30.71. But when you come back down through that opening price, people that were keying that off the open, boom, they got the heck out of the way in a hurry. It's still going to have a decent day. Closed at 26.74 yesterday, so perhaps you get a shot at a gap fill tomorrow in teledocs. Should we take? We got Apple and Amazon after the bell. So we'll take a quick look at the technicals on that. But did we have anybody making any calls ahead of it? Apple having a bad day along with the rest of the big tech, down near the lows of the session, 144.13. I don't know, Mitch. I don't see really anything down here. I see a pair of lows at 142.65, but then it looks like you could drop off to the 140 area. You got any levels that you like in this one?
I was watching that 150 because at least for me on the daily, it just made a lot of sense, like getting back above that 150 and it kind of being kind of a psychological level to watch for. We did get above the 150, but how long did we really last there? One day. This closed up there towards 152.34. The very next day, we closed at 149.80. That gave me a little bit of a sign. I was like, well, I
Yep.
wanted to recover that 150, wanted to hold up there before the earnings. This seems like it's already kind of doing an earnings drop. And the big question will be, of course, does Apple give us any insight into the iPhone, right? Because that's what we've been hearing so much about the production being weak for demand. Looks like there's a report right now from Fox Business Report that Apple to reduce iPhone Plus production after weak demand. Another mention, right? They're taking their shots right now, and I think that's what you want to be looking for in that earnings report. Is what do they say about the iPhones? Will they let us even know? That can be
Yeah.
another thing. They could stay quiet about it.
All right, did you got they got the imbalances here into the close because we are 5 minutes left to go into the session. We are sneaking back towards the low to I guess no one after the reports from Microsoft and Google and whatnot, because people are not wanting to sit on these longs going into the report. You see anything on in imbalance land?
I'll take a look right now. I just wanted to give really quickly expected EPS from Apple is at $1.26. Estimated revenue at 88.74 billion. If you take in a look in the last looks like 10, 12 earnings report, we have beat. It's a slight miss on revenue on one about 3 or 4 quarters before, but they have a track record of beating. I'll have to wait and see. let's go to those imbalance. Let's take the look right now on the SPY, see if we're seeing imbalances here. It looks like 861 to the buy side.
Yeah, that looks like that paired off pretty quickly. We are though on the lows of the session. Currently trading 14 and a quarter. So I was just kind of hoping for, the ranges and the volatility had come down a little bit. I was just hoping for just kind of like an unchanged day, try and hold on from those gains earlier in the week. But that doesn't look like that's going to be the case here. It looks like we're going to go out right out near the lows of the session, and then the fireworks after the close. Besides Apple and Amazon, do we have any other big reports? We can do some quick
Intel.
technicals. Oh yeah. How is Smelly Intel doing here?
Not looking bueno.
No. Down $1.02, hanging out near the lows in the move.
I just see this as such a bearish chart. I mean, maybe you're looking at this like kind of like an inverse head and shoulders, but what I see here is a lot of resistance here. You've made some bounces into that area and you reject and above the 2760s, 2775 there.
Just a quick one. We were asked about Mobileye this morning, and boy, the volume really fell off a cliff here on the second day. That certainly is not a good sign. We talked to, someone was just asking about the quick technicals on that, and obviously with only one day of price action, it's very hard to determine, but that closing price from yesterday gave that 28.97. Tried to make a run at that high from yesterday, but couldn't. And using that closing price now of 28.97, of course, that's the all-time closing high price for just 2 days of trading. And then that it didn't quite pierce the low from yesterday. So call it an inside day, Mitch. 26.03 was the low yesterday, 26.55 today. The one thing that is a little bit concerning here is that first day of volume. Close to 29 million shares, and just not that buying interest today, as only 5.5 million shares have traded.
Yeah, I think this is going to depend a lot on the markets. But if the markets start dropping, one thing that I've realized is that at least it seems like in this last year or two, the IPOs aren't being appreciated. And so with that being mentioned, I'll just be a little bit careful with the Mobileye here, especially with their valuation being at such high ends. We'll see what happens. All right.
Minute left here, Mitch.
Minute left. The other one that I'd be taking a look on is what happens to ExxonMobil. Would we get towards a new high? Looks like another high today, really close to closing above yesterday's high, but it pulled back below it. So that's the sign that we got to be careful, right? Big wick on the daily there. Not what I want to see. You know how I'll talk about those wicks. Those wicks are tricks, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with these oil stocks today. And there's a bunch of them reporting, right? It's ExxonMobil, Chevron reporting. So we'll see.
Yeah, you did get through that high by a considerable margin. That must have been on that rally this morning. The good news, though, I mean, the bad news is, you did back $2 off that 109.58, though. The good news is you are posting a new all-time closing high here. That closing high from yesterday, 107.14. So it looks like you're going to get a 107.76 close on that. So with that, probably had a big seller perched at 110. So even if it gets through that 109.58, on the print, just be aware of that. Could be some size out there or active sellers at 110. SPOO's caught a little boost here, just going into the close. But Mitch, thanks for sticking it out with me here. I'm once again broadcasting from the Tazi Center here at the University of Michigan, where they are training the investment bankers and analysts of the future. So, Mitch, I'll let you finish things up, and we'll be tuning in here tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we'll wrap up here. Of course, we'll be paying attention tomorrow. Pre-market prep. Don't miss it. Joel will be in the same house. So check it out. Tomorrow, it's going to be really fun from Michigan. Starts at 8 a.m. Eastern. don't miss it. Be square. And I'll say, Joel, and where you're at right now, I used to do the same thing when I was going to school at UCF. I used to just hang out in that room, enjoy it. And I think it's an important thing to kind of keep working on your skills, especially when you're in college. That's the best time to learn, I feel like. And I would still look back at those days in front of the Bloomberg terminals and really be happy that I took the time to really kind of work and hone on the skills. But with that being said, I'm seeing the SPY come down here, so I'm going to go pay attention to these earnings reports. Don't miss them right here on Benzinga. We'll actually have the earnings calls so that you guys can watch them. We'll have, of course, Apple today, and, of course, we'll have Amazon's call at 5:30. I'll see you there. Team, hit the thumbs up on your way out.